Genstat 19 provides two new procedures for assessing the adequacy of a linear mixed model fitted using REML, VSOM and VRCHECK. VSOM can be used to assess the residuals and random effects for outliers, whilst VRCHECK can be used to check the properties of the random effects. Let's begin by looking at the VSOM procedure. VSOM uses a variant shift outlier model to search for potential outliers. More information about the methodology underpinning this procedure can be found in Gomezzi et al.'s 2010 Computational Statistics and Data Analysis paper. In essence, to detect outliers in the residuals, a variant shift is incorporated for individual observations. The relative increase in error variance is determined by a parameter, omega I. The procedure tests whether omega I is greater than 0, the null value. The fixed and random options specify what fixed and random terms are fitted. Note, VSOM cannot accommodate covariance models. The Y parameter specifies the response variate. By default, VSOM assesses the residuals for outliers. However, you can set the term option to assess whether any groups of observations defined by that random term appear to be aberrant. Various other options and parameters are available which control other aspects of the procedure, such as the methods used to identify potential outliers and the output generated. To demonstrate the VSOM procedure, we'll use the Slate Hall dataset. We'll also open a text window to run the code. Let's fit a mixed model to the yield data with a fixed term for variety and random terms for field rows and field columns. Running this code will search the residuals for potential outliers using the default settings. In the first section of output, a summary of the fitted model is given. Printed below is a summary of the potential outliers as measured against threshold statistics at various levels of significance. Also outputted are false discovery rates. The false discovery rate estimates the probability that the outlier is generated by noise. In this example, all suggested outliers have a false discovery rate much larger than 0.5, meaning there is a greater chance that they are generated by noise rather than being genuine outliers. Let's take a look at the graphics viewer. The output is further complemented by the visualization of suggested outliers in index plots and residual diagnostic plots. To search the random term field column for aberrant effects, we simply set the term option. No aberrant field column effects have been detected. The other Genstat 19 new procedure available for checking the adequacy of the model is VRCHECK. VRCHECK examines the random effects for the presence of large standardized values and, using Levine tests, checks whether the variance of the random term differs according to the size of the response. A word of caution though, results from the Levine tests should be interpreted with care. This is because the estimated random effects are correlated. As the Levine tests assume they are independent, it generates too many significant results. VRCHECK has several options but no parameters. the option term is the only option that must be set. This specifies the random term whose BLUPs are to be assessed. By default, the BLUPs are taken from the most recent analysis run by the REML directive. However, the save option allows an earlier REML analysis to be used. The other options control what output is printed, how the residuals are formed, what constitutes a large standardized BLUP, and which results are saved. To check the properties of the field column random term in the slate hall example, we must first fit the model using REML. Now we can call VRCHECK. By default, only the large standardized BLUPs are outputted. Let's also request output from the Levine tests of variance stability. Three reasonably large field column effects have been detected. However, results from the Levine tests do not indicate any problems with heterogeneity of variance. When performing Levine tests, the BLUPs are divided into three groups according to the sizes of the corresponding fitted values: small, intermediate, and large. A test is then conducted to compare the variance of the standardized BLUPs in the small group to those in the large group, and another test to compare the variance of the standardized BLUPs in the intermediate group with the variance of those in the small and large groups combined. However, in our example, the small versus large test has not been conducted, as there are too few samples in one of these groups. If you're more comfortable using Genstat's menus instead of the command line interface, you can use the menus to fit a REML model and run the VSOM procedure. Note that you can't use the menus to run the VRCheck procedure. After running the analysis, click Further Output. Then click Detect Outliers to open the REML Outlier detection menu and set your options.